The saddest part of life is when the person who gave you the best memories becomes a memory. Sometimes, tears are a sign that we are alive and emotions still reside within us. The deepest scars are not seen but felt within the heart. In the end, we all become stories. Sad is the soul whose story ends too soon. It's strange how the absence of love can be so loud. Sorrow is like a precious treasure, shown only to friends. The heart was made to be broken. Sometimes, the eyes can say more than the mouth ever could. The saddest thing is to be a passing moment to someone when you've made them your eternity. It's hard to forget someone who gave you so much to remember. The hardest thing I'll ever do is walk away still loving you. One of the hardest things in life is watching the person you love someone else. The worst kind of sad is not being able to explain why. Sometimes, we just have to accept that some people are going to stay in our hearts even if they don't stay in our lives. Tears come from the heart and not from the brain. 1,000 words couldn't bring you back. I know this because I tried, neither could 1,000 tears. I know this because I cried, you left behind a broken heart and happy memories too, but I never wanted memories, I only wanted you. Sometimes, what a person needs is not a brilliant mind that speaks, but a patient heart that listens. To have felt too much is to end in feeling nothing. The saddest aspect of life right now is that science gathers knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom. It's amazing how someone can break your heart and you can still love them with all the little pieces. The loneliest moment in someone's life is when they are watching their whole world fall apart, and all they can do is stare blankly. Losing him was like having a hole shot straight through me, a painful, constant reminder, an absence I could never fill. You never really stop loving someone. You just learn to try to live without them. There is a distinct, awful pain that comes with loving someone more than they love you. A million words would not bring you back, I know because I tried. Neither would a million tears, I know because I cried. It's sad when someone you know becomes someone you knew. The pain of yesterday is the strength of today. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. Sometimes, it's not the people who change, it's the mask that falls off. It's sad to know I'm done. But looking back, I've got a lot of great memories. Grief is the price we pay for love. The tragedy of life is not that it ends so soon, but that we wait so long to begin it. Every heart has its own skeletons. The saddest part isn't that with each passing day I feel like I need you more, but it's the fact that you don't need me at all. It is sad not to love, but it is much sadder not to be able to love. Part of me aches at the thought of her being so close yet so untouchable. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. Nothing is worse than when someone who's supposed to love you just leaves. There is a sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. They are the messengers of overwhelming grief, of deep contrition, and of unspeakable love. Sadness flies away on the wings of time. The word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. It's the emptiness that follows the sadness that hurts the most. Sometimes, you have to smile to hold back the tears. To cry is to know that you're alive, but it's also a sign that you have a lot of grief to unpack. Sometimes, the hardest part isn't letting go but learning to start over. The saddest kind of sad is when your tears can't even drop and you feel nothing. It's like the world has just ended. You don't cry, you don't hear, you don't see. You just stay there. For a second, the heart dies. It's okay to be a glow stick. Sometimes we need to break before we shine. We must understand that sadness is an ocean, and sometimes we drown, while other days we are forced to swim. The most painful goodbyes are the ones that are never said and never explained. There is no greater sorrow than to recall happiness in times of misery. Sometimes, life tests us harder than we had ever expected. Not to show our weaknesses but to discover our strengths. The saddest people I've ever met in life are the ones who don't care deeply about anything at all. Passion and satisfaction go hand in hand, and without them, any happiness is only temporary, because there's nothing to make it last. Tears shed for another person are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign of a pure heart. It's not always the tears that measure the pain. Sometimes, it's the smile we fake. There are moments when I wish I could roll back the clock and take all the sadness away, but I have the feeling that if I did, the joy would be gone as well. When you're happy, you enjoy the music. But when you're sad, you understand the lyrics. Every man has his secret sorrows which the world knows not, and oftentimes we call a man cold when he is only sad. It's sad to go to bed at night and realize that another day went by without me feeling like I lived my life. Sadness is but a wall between two gardens. You can close your eyes to things you don't want to see, but you can't close your heart to the things you don't want to feel.